Hello, welcome to Book Launch Tuesday, the best thing to happen to Tuesday since tacos. It is I, S.G. George, the acquisitions editor for Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing, and welcome to the book launch for Blind Angels by Terry Madden. A colony ship and a planet prepared for their arrival should be united in their cause, but after hundreds of years, their goals no longer align. If they don't find a common purpose, humanity as we know it approaches its last days. All right, hello, everybody. Like I said, welcome to the book launch. And hello, Terry. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to be sharing a book launch day with Melania.
There
That's
you go.
true. You're right.
Could either help or hurt. I don't know.
I'm sure that you will outsell her by at least 1 million copies.
At least.
Also joining us, we have Lynn Colby, the editorial director for Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing and the copy editor for today's book that is being launched into space.
Hello. Yes, literally. Also, that this is perfect timing. So if you want to escape reality, Blind Angels is the place to go.
Angels. All right, so if you are sold already, pick up your copy on Amazon. Like I said, launching today, ebook. We got print books, we got all of the good things, and we are going to be asking Terry the hard questions, all the things that we really need to know. So if you have your questions, put them in the chat, but I will go ahead and get us started. Terry, who was your favorite minor character to write in Blind Angels?
I'd probably say Lemkos, although he's a viewpoint character, but of the non-viewpoint characters, I would say Elijah McCaskill. He's I won't say who he is, but he was very fun to write. His voice just came into my head, and he's been there. And it's funny how secondary characters will do that. They'll kind of try to take things over. But it's great because then they come across so perfectly, fully fleshed out, even though they have a minor role. Lemkos as a secondary viewpoint character is probably my favorite.
Very good. Kelly, who is your favorite? What do you think?
My problem is I won't remember any names, so just so you know that about me, they all go away. But I liked the kid on the ship.
Rain.
The child.
Carl?
Rain.
I'm sorry?
Rain.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking Carl. I think his name is Carl. He's the guy who...
Carl. Yeah. Rain is Seraphus's daughter.
And that was my favorite character. I adored her. I'd love to see a lot more from her POV, right? So, I mean, there's another book coming, so...
That's right.
But I really like that. And we can't talk too much about her because it gives stuff away, but she fascinated me. To be a child on a generation ship that's already been in space for hundreds of years, right, never knowing anything different, it just fascinates me.
All right, and so this being a space book set in space, there were a lot of creatures that you had to create to populate this new world for the humans to go to, Varanasi. Which was your favorite creature that you created?
Well, I'd probably have to say the Hellions. So there's a group of, I would say that the only real sentient beings on the planet are Hellions, and they're kind of like dragons, but kind of like dragon ostriches. But they can glide. They've got wings. All the creatures on the planet are almost all, but have symbiotes that live with them that are plumage that photosynthesize for them. So the Hellions are kind of like these green feathered dragon type creatures, but in book 2, I'm finding out a lot more about the Hellions, and they're pretty exciting.
Very good.
Yeah, Northern Light says that she loved the Hellions.
Dragons I can handle, but ostriches are terrors, says Florida Kevin. I would agree. And their eggs are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So when you were creating all of those characters or any of the other sciencey sorts of things that came with creating a science fiction book, did you talk to any experts in any fields?
Yeah, I really wanted this world to be real, and it is real. There is a gas giant called Majoriti, and it orbits Epsilon Andromeda A, uh, which is 49 light years away from us. And it was actually one of the first, maybe not the first, but one of the first exoplanets that was discovered using, I think they used wobble of the star to discover it. So I did a lot of research about Majoriti, and as far as we know, we know its orbit, we know it kind of dips a little bit out of the Goldilocks zone in its orbit, so it plunges it into a very cold, kind of deep freeze for about a year, and then it comes back around and comes back into the Goldilocks zone where it's habitable. So obviously you can't live on a gas giant, so I had to create a moon that's orbiting this gas giant. And I did talk to my husband and I are big space nerds. We go to this convention every year called Space Fest, where we hang out with a lot of space artists and a lot of guys who work with NASA. And I talked to a planetary scientist, Dan Durda, and Lee Pascal, and Seth Shostak gave me some information on radio signals from a generation ship, and rather, how far away would you be able to hear a generation ship with regular radio abilities that we know of today? So he helped me a lot with, losing signal and how powerful would it have to be. And so I picked a lot of people's brains. Mike Carroll, who is a planetary scientist and an artist. And a lot of them gave me great ideas about, can we live on a moon that's orbiting a gas giant without radiation killing us? Because we know Jupiter has a huge radiation field. And to live on one of the moons around Jupiter would be difficult unless you had a way to protect yourself. But all the planetary scientists I talked to said Jupiter may be an anomaly, that may not be the case. As long as your moon is far enough away, you should be fine. So I did a lot of research in that area.
That is awesome. I did not realize that you had gone quite that far. That never came up when we were working on it, but that's so cool.
We were too busy worrying about robot sex.
The important stuff.
Right.
No, actually, that's why I think this book is so powerful, because the science is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to believe for getting the nanobots across to this planet to prepare it, right? To make the bigger machines and all that. So you kind of have to press the I believe button for that. Yeah. Everything else is like right on with what is actually possible, including the parasitic plumage, right? Like, so it was everything else was as accurate as you could get it. There was just one thing you had to press I believe on. So that makes the entire world feel very real.
We haven't yet created a micro wormhole, but I would say that in the future it's doable. So I wouldn't discount.
Yeah, but getting matter through it though is a whole other issue.
You just have a limit to how much matter you can get energy and wavelength through. Yeah.
We could communicate through it, right?
Yeah.
So, but I had no trouble pushing I believe. We know this isn't,
good.
An autobiography or anything. So. But no, I love that. But how did you come up with that concept in order to actually start getting that? Because it makes sense to start getting that planet ready before they actually got there, right?
Yeah, I started working on this story so long ago that it's lost in the mist of time. But I wanted to write about a generation ship, and I came up with the notion. I had been reading about micro wormholes and the ability to send information through micro wormholes through any distance in space. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you had infrastructure already set up on a planet before the generation ship got there so that they would have life support, they'd have everything they needed, they'd have a whole community built by the time they got there. And everybody who was there would have to be either AI or they'd have to be downloaded minds, which I've got a whole lot of them. So
Kevin
For sure.
asked, did much change from your original outline during that research phase?
my daughter read my first draft, and I think it was a complete disaster because the Hellions were kind of off doing their own thing. Nobody was integrated. So I would say it's changed a great deal from that first draft. From, oh boy, I don't even know how many years ago that was. Probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So it's been a while. And my outline that I ran by Dave Farland, who's unfortunately no longer with us, I took his story doctor class and I doctored with this story. And he said, I don't think anybody has done anything like this before. So he said, you just got to get it right. So it took me a very long time to get it right, but I think we got it right now.
I think so too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with. And one of the really interesting things about this book, Blind Angels, is it's got three very distinct settings. It's got Varanasi, the surface world of this planet. It's got the Vera Rubin, which is the colony ship that is moving towards the planet at a high rate of speed. And then there is a virtual reality world whose name escapes me at the moment.
Nirvana.
Nirvana. Where a bunch of refugees from the dying Earth were zipped over through a wormhole and had been living in this virtual reality universe, basically living in a computer for 200 years. What sort of influences did you bring in when you were creating your own virtual Nirvana?
I've always been fascinated with the question of if you had the opportunity to be immortal, would you do it? Would you take it? In fact, I used to teach high school chemistry and astronomy, and I would always ask my kids, if you could do this, would you? And I overwhelmingly people said no. So the question is, if you get lucky and you win this lottery and get sent to be a digitized mind, how does that affect you psychologically? How does that affect you emotionally? At what point do you say, okay, I'm done, I'm ready to check out? Or do I have to have a virtual reality that will be the PlayStation for you for the rest of eternity? And how would that work for you? So those are questions that really I wanted to address in this book. And I feel like I kind of did, I hope. Uh-oh, did we lose Sarah?
Nope.
She's there. Okay. So,
and
go ahead.
I was laughing because when everyone because you did it very realistically about what happens with people, and a lot of them they're like supposed to be working, but they're in this virtual reality instead. And I'm like, that is what every work from home boss is afraid of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're just
exactly.
gonna go home and play games
and not
do your job. We did lose Birdie. It's okay. She'll be back in a minute.
She'll be back.
But no, I really like how you had it. Like this book, it's not simple.
No, it is not simple.
So it's really cool how you're taking different parts of humanity and kind of displaying them in a way that makes you question, what would you do?
Yeah, that was my goal. And then there's the technical part of it. When you try to preserve data for 3 centuries, what happens to the data over time while you have decoherence and you have, bit rot and things like that you have to somehow solve. You have to constantly patch, or you have to things like this to try to preserve the original mind that was sent through. So do you succeed in preserving that mind or not? So.
I like it. I like it a lot. And we didn't talk about why. This is not a spoiler, right? Why this all happened anyways. Why are all the people on this colony ship to colonize another planet? You want to give us a little heads up on that one?
Well, the 2.5 centuries earlier when they launched, there already was a carrion virus. It's called the carrion virus that is decimating Earth, and this was long before COVID. So I thought, was that going to screw things up? But we all know what pandemics are now. So this pandemic that kind of devastated the population, I had the generation ship launch earlier than it should have because we had to preserve the population and keep them from carrying this virus to the planet they're going to. So we have a lot of backstory too. So we've got a launch of a generation ship. We've got a character who's currently living on Varanasi, on the planet they're going to, who was originally on the launch crew. Those two are connected through the launch of this ship, Vera Rubin.
I love it. I love it. And Greg says that he's happy to have another sci-fi author at CDS.
Yay.
So it's really you and him right now wearing that hat.
Great.
And
yeah, I'm happy to be there.
You're going to be right there at the table separating his mutant horror from all of the
big
funny
pile
jokes.
Of books. Yeah. You'll have all those big pile of books, and then there'll be a big pile of books on the other side, and then I'll be the one in the middle.
Yep. Yeah, you and Greg both have some in-space stuff. So people who prefer off-planet adventures, they've got two authors to choose from now. Oh, let's see. Yeah, somebody asked about how you felt about Pluto not being removed as a planet.
Well, I have talked to a lot of those planetary scientists about that too.
I'm sure they get that question all the time.
I'm sure they do.
They do. And I have been convinced that it was the right thing to do because of the orbital path of Pluto and its resonance with the orbits of all the other planets. It kind of, and its orbital tilt is way out. It actually crosses the path of Neptune every 100 years. I think it's got a 250-year orbit or something. So it's way out there. It's really a planetesimal or a dwarf planet. It's really what it is.
For a hot second there, you said all the same buzzwords as those girls who base their personality on if Mars is in line with Venus. Pluto has a very long orbit, and so I think that I can have ice cream this week.
I mean, we have 2 moons right now, even though we don't. I mean, if we're going to talk size again, geez, it's so tiny. I'm like, why is everyone calling it a second moon? It's tiny.
Yeah, we have these things called Trojan asteroids too that are bigger than that thing that they're calling a second moon.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, it's big enough that I couldn't lift it, but that's about it. It's really, right. It's not. That's it. I just,
yeah,
it's cracking me up.
Speaking of editing, Miss Lynn Colby was our copy editor for this one, and that's a little bit different than what you normally do. Normally, you are the dev editor for books like this.
Normally, I'm the hammer.
Yeah, but it was my turn to do the dev editing, and you just got to like stroll through the field and do the copy editing.
I loved it.
But did you notice any fun copy editing quirks?
Nope. The only thing I've noticed is that a lot of authors are doing this. This is not unique to Terry. It's really popular right now. Is not having enough complete sentences.
Oh.
That all of you out there, just stop it. Write sentences. It's not that hard. For heaven's sakes.
It's a fad.
It loses all effect. And by the way, you weren't that bad at it, Terry. It's just my overall annoyance right now. But it drives me batty, man. Like every time they just do like just words, right? Or just phrases. I'm like, no, that's just lazy. Write a sentence. Drives me batty.
We have a fun game we play on my stream that's called NAS, where I'll write NAS and for not a sentence, and then Pine Lord takes a drink.
I could send you a man pee drunk real quick. That's why he said NAS. He's like, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very annoying. That's true, Kevin. It's one of the things you don't do.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Not making my job harder or anything.
Yeah. Yep. So excellent. So it wasn't any huge things. And here's my problem. The biggest problem I had is, which I do have sometimes because I don't copy edit as often as I developmental edit. I just found myself enjoying the story.
Oh,
and then I would be like 3 pages down. Yeah, I'd be 3 pages down. I'd be like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be looking for commas. And so I'd have to scroll back up. So
I'm the worst when it comes to commas. My God, I have never mastered commas. But you guys are helping.
None of us have. They keep changing the rules.
Well, you guys have helped me a great deal in the comma
that's
department. But I think I'm better now. Second book, first draft, you can see if it's any better.
Good. When I'm not copy editing, but I did kind of check a couple of little grammar rules just to be sure. And I thought it was interesting. I found NASA's style guide.
Oh,
I found the NASA style guide of how they expect their documents to be done. And they say that like space stations and spaceships are not considered something that should be capitalized. Like we
italicized.
In science fiction, generally you'll see like spaceships are treated like sailing ships, and so the name of the spaceship will be italicized. NASA says don't do that.
Oh, NASA's so wrong. Disagree.
No, NASA's wrong.
NASA's wrong.
They don't have ships. No, they're wrong. It needs to be italicized, and I totally did it anyways. So
Rocinante is italicized.
I just thought it was interesting. I couldn't remember if it's spaceships or if it's like satellite, like the
I think
International
it was all of the
Space
above.
Station, something along those lines. It's not the ships, and they decide how they're written.
Well, the International Space Station's not a ship, though, right? That's like a city. So I'm okay with that not being italicized.
Right.
But a ship is a ship. It should be italicized. Sorry.
I agree.
That's the rule. Yeah. So I was with you on that one, too. That's why Sarah looked it up. So I was like, nope. It's a house, because here's the thing. So if y'all don't know, every publishing house has its own editing rules, too. So here's Chicago Manual of Style, which is Sarah's overlord as an editor. Right, Sarah?
Yes.
Yes, see, she loves it. She's like, look, here it is.
It's such a heavy book.
I was like, you can lift it with one hand. And so and it has all these rules, and we follow most of them in there. But there are a few things that we get to make decisions on as a publishing house. So one of them, totally agree with you, Terry, is we were like, nope, ships are italicized.
So Chicago Manual of Style says they should not be italicized?
No, NASA said they shouldn't be italicized.
NASA. Okay.
I think that at the time I had looked, and that was when Chicago 17 had been out, and Chicago 17 didn't have anything about it. I haven't looked since Chicago 18 came out, but Chicago 18 is supposed to be more accessible for fiction writers. And so Bertie goes on a whole rant about Chicago style.
Yep. That's why I kept to my Vern. We'll talk to Doc in 2 weeks. We have we're in Houston, right? So we do Wings Over Houston air show at the end of the month, and there's a lot of NASA people there. So we're going to talk to them.
Yeah, see what they think.
I'm sure they're totally in charge of deciding if it's italicized or not. Also, Forrest Cabin Reads came in. Hi, Forrest Cabin Reads. Welcome.
Hello, Forrest. All right, I had more questions here. Let's go back to Blind Age, or go back to Terry. So what technology, because there's a lot of technology in Blind Angels that's just a little bit scary. What technology are you seeing in today's day and age that either influenced the scary technology in Blind Angels or totally scares you now that it's out?
Well, I think we're all scared of AI. I mean, that's kind of like the blanket scare. Depending on what becomes of AI. So in my story, the ship itself is really run by an AI. So AI vulnerabilities. So in book 2, I'm exploring the vulnerabilities of the AI and how the AI can be attacked. And from what I've read, it's kind of an interesting psychological attack that you can do on an AI. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. Maybe. And maybe it'll work. I guess you guys will tell me.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Greg says, "Shh, it can hear us."
True. It does. How many times have you been on your phone and you've been talking to somebody about buying new Birkenstocks, and all of a sudden you get a Birkenstocks ad? They do listen to you.
Yeah, 100%. My daughter works at PetSmart. I never searched anything on any of my computers or my phone about PetSmart. I don't need to. She can do it. And I get ads on YouTube for PetSmart.
Yeah.
They hear us.
They do.
I've even got I've got OK Google and Siri and all that stuff turned off, and I'm sure that it's still listening.
Oh yeah, sure.
What's scary is I saw a thing about AI price changes, where if you Google baby fever, then they're gonna raise the price of children's Motrinol on you or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody's worried about having chips put in their head. You've already got a chip in your head. It's that.
We just hold it in our hand.
We hold it in our hands, but it's always right next to you, and so it hears everything you say.
Yep. And it definitely influences us.
Yep.
They do that with airline tickets for sure. For sure. Yeah, dynamic pricing, that's what it was.
Dynamic pricing?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Warden Kevin says a Birkenstock rep just knocked on his door.
Yes. You need a pair, Kevin. You're gonna need to wade through all that water that's coming your way.
That's true. Your feet will dry out faster. Yep.
Johnny says, I put chips in my head. My favorite is the hot Funyun.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny. Thanks for coming.
Well, I love that because your book does a really good job of questioning, what does it mean to be human? Which, by the way, all good sci-fi does. Anyways, that's kind of sci-fi's thing.
Yeah.
And so you have these human brains who used to have a human body, and they're now in these mechanical bodies. So if you had to be in a mechanical body, what would you miss the most?
Well, in my book, chapter 1, they say they miss their skin the most, and I think that's probably what you'd miss the most. I think visually you'd be able to, have good visual sensors and hearing, and you'd be able to voice modulate, but being able to have, feel the wind and really have true tactile interface would be tough. Although I don't know, with haptics and everything nowadays, they may be able to replicate touch, but skin, I think it's the thing that they're going to miss the most.
And that's a really, I was very impressed by the opening paragraph. If you don't read the rest of the book, pull up the Amazon listing and read the first couple paragraphs, because I thought that was so cool. And I think you're right. I think that a lot of the senses, maybe not taste, I don't know, because you also played a lot with taste in your book, and I think that a lot of people would miss taste, especially more than smell, because when you smell things, it's normally unpleasant.
They are connected.
They're connected.
Yeah, they are connected.
Yeah.
But if we're an AI, we can just disconnect one and keep the other.
No. I mean, you cannot taste properly if you can't smell it.
With your body.
What if we're programmed as a robot to not need both of them?
I suppose it's possible.
Then we can just taste all of the things. But then we could just turn broccoli and make it taste like chocolate, and I think that would fix a lot of my problems.
But I love broccoli.
You can make your chocolate taste like broccoli. You do you, girl.
That would solve a lot of my problems. Don't eat the chocolate. totally work.
Well, one of my main characters used to be a cook on Earth, and she is now a disembodied mind. And so has spent the last 200 years trying to recreate smells and tastes and try to come up with a robotic version of some of the meals that she used to have or cook on Earth. So I think we would miss the whole tactile cooking, smelling, tasting, not so much vision or hearing, but those three, yes, are major.
So one of the things that Maple does, she's our main character, is she makes synthetic cocktails. Do you have a favorite cocktail?
She made, now I can't remember what it's called, but I looked it up and I really like the name of the cocktail. Damn it.
Trivia Pursuit time. CDS
I
Trivia
know.
Pursuit. What was the cocktail in Blind Angels?
God. Oh, I'll have to think of it for a while. But she worked very hard at getting the flavor right, and it ended up tasting more like mango and not quite like pineapple. I think it was a pineapple daiquiri or something like that she was trying to make to impress her friend Lemkos, who was coming over. And they have taste sensors, so she keeps modifying the code for her flavors to try to get them just right.
I could search this all day. I'm not going to find it.
I know. I wouldn't find it either.
I would pull it up and I could find it in seconds on my computer, but I'm worried that it'll crash again.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not breathing on it. Nice. I love it.
Wasn't it Tom Collins?
I don't know. Pine Lord said, the way fungus and whatnot can build underground networks, that seems like a fun way to make synthetic skin. Ooh. I don't know anything about fungus.
Fungus likes to grow on us anyways, and they're not that different from us. If we could connect it, that actually could work.
Actually, yeah, growing synthetic skin, which there is a part where they are growing kind of organic synthetic skin that is based upon some of the local fauna that's there. They've taken skin cells and tried to make something that would cover their robotic chassis with, and they don't use fungus, but I'm using fungus in book 2. There's lots of fungus in book 2.
Fungus is going to get us far, quite frankly. I just read a book called Entangled Life. It was all about fungus.
Yeah, I'd want to read that book.
Oh, read, especially if you're going to use the book 2. Highly recommend. It was so scientist to scientist. Let me tell you, it was so good. So I had so much fun. I just had to keep flipping geek to geek. Let me tell you, it was a great book.
That's been on the top of my to read list for a long time.
It was 5-star read for me. Highly recommend.
Okay.
Again, especially since you're going to use it, there are all kinds of things I hadn't even thought of. I was like, oh, mushrooms are that's so cool. Awesome. It makes me want to go be a mycologist. I always want to study something new. Yeah, it's so fascinating. And the writing was wonderful in that. So like he just tells really good stories and really leads you into what it is he's trying to teach, right? And it's just brilliant. It's really well done.
Yeah, I really want to read it.
Yep.
Johnny asked, do you have any references to Alan Turing in the book?
I have a reference to, not in that book, in the second book, I have a reference to Ada Lovelace, who actually predated Alan Turing and probably created the first computer. Everybody thinks it's Alan Turing. I think it's Ada Lovelace.
Yep. Let's see. Kelly.
Hey, real quick, also, so everyone interested in this book, because I know you all want to buy it now, Zafo can put the link up again. It's curseddragonship.com/blindangels. Make sure to get your copy now so you know all the cool things we are talking about. All right, go ahead, Sarah.
But also, if you do not have money or do not want to spend money in today's economy, you can subscribe to Terry Madden's newsletter at terrymaddenwrites.com.
Right.
And she will be sending out an email here pretty soon inviting you
on her newsletter
to have a chance to win a signed copy of the book through her newsletter.
You'll be the first ones to get a signed copy.
Yeah.
So make sure to get on that newsletter.
Yeah. So just go to the website and there should be a link on there to sign up for newsletter, and you'll get a free story also by signing up. And I only email once a month about, so I'm not going to bombard you with emails.
We don't have time. We're trying to write these books for you. Yeah. Yep.
I think the last time I sent out a newsletter was like 9 months ago.
Yeah, I'm 2 months behind. I got to send one out.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited,
Yes.
the ebook is available on there, so you can read it there as well.
So who would like this book, Kelly? Who should be signing up for the newsletter? Who should be using Kindle Unlimited?
Anyone who likes a really good sci-fi with a well-developed world. So this one has the dimension to it, and it's got basically two, not even including the virtual world, places that you spend time on. You spend time in the colony ship, and you spend on the planet. So you have these completely different views of what is happening with the rest of the human race. So it's very fascinating to have that. So anyone who likes that question, who likes to see what's going to happen when we push more into space, because we're either going to all die on this planet or we're going to push more into space. There's really no other choice, right? One or the other is going to happen. So if this is something you're looking forward to into the future, then I think you would love this book. I would say for adults, but any high schooler, like there's nothing unsafe in this book to read, if you know what I mean. So it would be perfectly fine for a high schooler, but I would say no younger than high school. Would you agree with me, Terry?
Yeah, there's some language and some
And the
Descriptions of
there's some
bodily parts.
robotic sex.
Yeah, and the concepts are a little bigger. You know what I mean? They're a little bigger than younger can probably get. But high school and older, I would recommend this one for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, all right. There was another question I thought that was not on my list. Oh, what piece of technology from your book do you want right now? Please give it to me. I would like it now, please.
Would like to be able to go into a virtual world that's all consuming. You know, where you're actually stepping into a true, like the Oasis, you know, and Ready Player One, where it's really a virtual reality. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're getting there. But
So a big part of the Nirvana is that it is basically a big giant MMO where you are a character with stats and inventories and levels up. Are you a big MMO player?
the only game I have played, well, no, I can't say that. I've tried some other games, but I'm not very good. I'm not very good at any of them. Is World of Warcraft. So I started playing WoW when my kids were both in college, and they started playing, and they talked me into starting to play with them. Just they were away at school, and I thought this is a way we can spend time together. And I got totally hooked on WoW. And I still play WoW, play Classic, but I started in Burning Crusade and went all the way through. I kind of lost interest in Pandaria and all of those, but I still play.
That's cool. Well, I hope a reasonable number of hours a week.
Well, yes, right now I'm waiting for my notes back on first draft of book 2, so I've played a lot of WoW in the last few days.
I'm like, aren't you retired? Play all the WoW you want. What are you talking about? This is what you work so hard for.
Well, there's some people, and especially here about in Asia, where like they spend like 20 hours a day.
Oh no.
It's like this is their life, this is their whole existence, and they do not get jobs or girlfriends or anything, and they just live for WoW.
No, my max is like 4 hours, then I get totally bored and have to leave. So.
Good. Are there microtransactions in Nirvana?
Microtransactions?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's how these modern games exist, man.
So
It's
so
free
in
to play.
You mean like a whole economy?
Well, in modern games, they're called microtransactions, where after you buy the game, you can buy more content.
Oh.
Like you
I
can buy
haven't.
skins, cool outfits, new weapons.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you just buy
like in
new
Guild
levels of the
Wars. I
game.
did play Guild Wars for a while. I liked Guild Wars that you could buy all that cool stuff. I don't think I ever addressed it. So I know that Maypole, my main character, doesn't spend a lot of time in virtual, so she has really shitty weapons and really crappy mount and all of that because she's never leveled up or gotten any of the cool stuff. So I would say you probably have to play the game and earn the goodies because real money also doesn't have a huge value. I mean, they have credits, but what do you spend money on in this Nirvana virtual? So,
Yeah, they're not really living for themselves,
right,
right? So it's a very interesting thing to be. You have immortality, but you're not living for yourself. So
right.
it's a very interesting concept. But she has a puppy. I say in quotes.
Yes, she
She
does.
does.
Happy.
Yeah.
A friend
And
of
if you want to
mine
know what I'm
had a
talking about, you got
dog.
to read it because he's adorable.
A friend of mine had a dog, a pit bull that she named Puppy, and I thought, okay, I'm going to name this puppy Puppy.
It's a perfect
That's
name
right.
because it's not even a mammal, so it's perfect. I love it. I loved puppy. Let's see. Lena plays
I-
WoW too.
Lena plays. You guys could start. You could start a guild. We could have a
Yeah,
CDS
CDS guild.
guild.
No, do
yeah,
not. You know why I don't play WoW? Because it would eat my life. I would play it for 20
yeah,
hours and not do anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
So I just
yeah.
have to stay away from it.
yeah, yeah. It can do that to you.
Yeah. No, can't do it. Just can't. Um, I'll put a game on my phone and then 2 days later delete it because I can't stop playing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think Joe and I put like 70 hours on Balatro over the course of a week, just passing the controller back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah. Games eat my life, so I have to just not play them. Sometimes I can do cozy games because, quite frankly, they're a little boring.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds horrible, but I need the little boring so that I can actually walk away.
Oh, yeah,
And I
yeah.
can't have anybody else depending on me,
Right.
right? Like a group that I have to show up because we're going to go
Like a
kill this big god
dungeon.
or
Yeah,
whatever. I
yeah.
can't, because now I can't leave. Now this group's depending on me. So it has to be, I have to play on my own.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I feel you. I understand completely.
Completely.
Definitely my kids' fault. I
Oh,
blame
of
You
course
into
it
the
WoW?
is.
children. Yeah, yeah. For playing WoW, it's definitely their fault.
Mhm, mhm.
Did
It's my
they
husband's
start
fault.
playing and get you into it?
They did, but I never would have had. I never would have had an understanding of what MMOs are had I not played and then been able to create something for a book.
There you go. As I was talking to a bunch of people this weekend, and I told them, fiction is just um memoir with extra steps.
That's true. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, my gosh, Terry, we are so happy to have you here and introduce your beautiful novel to the world. And this is not your debut novel. You have another series out, correct?
I do. I have a fantasy series that I had with a small publishing house, then they went under, so I now am self-publishing it. So Three Wells of the Sea is my fantasy series. So I kind of write fantasy, science fiction, and historical. I kind of like all of the things, and I can't quite.
Right.
I get bored of one, and then I move to another, and no.
Been there, done that.
Completely understand. I love it. I love it. Do you have any last questions,
Right.
Sarah?
If our readers like you, they'll like what you write. What are you reading and writing? Or no, what are you Kelly, what's the question? There's a
Yeah,
question.
there's 3 questions. So one
Yeah.
is, what are you watching? What are you listening to? And what are you reading?
Yes.
Right now,
I knew that part.
we just started watching Blake Crouch's Dark Matter, which I've always wanted to read the books, and I just never have gotten to them. So I said, "Oh God, they've got a series now," so we're watching that. We just finished watching Ted Lasso. I know we're really behind on that because that was wonderful, really great. Reading wise, I'm reading the 5th book in the Expanse series, Nemesis Games,
Mm.
and I'm also reading Demon Copperhead. Barbara Kingsolver's Pulitzer Prize winner.
I just finished Poisonwood Bible. It's really
Oh, yeah, she's awesome.
good. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've just finished Leviathan Waves.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that was, yeah. And that was one of the books that I had read it before, and it really made an impression on me. And when I picked up yours, I was like, oh my God, this is like that one. And so yeah, that's definitely one of like my comp titles for Blind Angels.
Yeah, I really loved Altered Carbon too, which I know they made a TV series out of. The book was really good though. So I would say it kind of comps with Altered Carbon also.
Okay.
I agree. Good comp. Yep. Excellent.
Otherwise, I think that is it for tonight. Any last words for the audience,
Thanks.
Terry?
Thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate you coming out, and I hope you enjoy the book as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Kelly, if the audience would like to see more of you, where can they see more of you?
Me, you can find me on my website, kellylynncolby.com. Quite frankly, though, I spend way more time on Cursed Dragon Ship. So anywhere where @curseddragonship.com is, go there and I will probably be there. And our next stream is Thursday night. We do writing streams starting at 7 p.m. Central. So anyone who needs that group to come and write together, you're looking for that writing group, come join us. So we start at 7 p.m. on Thursdays.
And
Central.
if you would like to talk to Terry, you would like to talk to Kelly, you would like to talk to me, or any of the other Cursed Dragon Ship writers, you can join us in the Discord that Zavo has just posted up there for us. If you would like to see more of me, I am Ladybird Editing .com for freelance editing, or you can join me on twitch.tv/birdie25. We do 2 streams a week, one editing on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays we do art prompts. And this month we are doing all of our Inktober prompts. And so if you've been doing Inktober, come join us and we will show off your art on stream. And again, if you would like a free book, join Terry's newsletter, terrymaddenwrites.com. Join her newsletter, click her link, and you have the chance to win a free book.
Yep.
Otherwise, I think that's it for today.
I love it. We have closing music somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. There it is.